I've got just tons of thoughts that I got through that EXP conference. And then 2 days ago, Brian Buffini did his mid-year as one at the end of the year or the beginning of the year. And there's always such great thoughts coming from those things. And he has got his finger on the pulse, because I believe he's got like 120 coaches working with thousands and thousands of people across the United States. So he talks to everybody about everything. He knows what's happening, and it's great. Hey, Yasmin, come on in. We've got a chair at the table. We've got a folding chair. Today, I'd make bullet points about these things and study up on them. About the revenue share. And by the way, Juliana just got her first revenue share check last week. And she told me in the very beginning, she goes, I'm just going to help people buy and sell real estate. I'm not going to get into the revenue share. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I mean, she walked in at 80-20, just like every single one of you walked in as, just like I walked in as. And you can just do that and be perfectly happy with it, or you can get your first check. And I think maybe she might have changed her mind. This is not so bad, getting a check that I wasn't even expecting. Anyway, built by agents, for agents, that is very important, because the people that do what we do every day are the ones that put together this company, not business people that have never sold real estate. So that's why I think EXP is so fabulous, because the people that put it together know exactly what we do on a daily basis. We own the company. We have ownership in the company. There isn't a Warren Buffett, and I'm using him because everybody knows who he is. There isn't anybody at the top of our company. We are all at the top of our company, and we all own the company. I think that means a lot, because, you know, it's like our child. It really and truly belongs to us. Are you not going to take care of your own belongings? I hope you do. I hope you treat it as special as you need to treat it. You know, that can say that about their company, that they have ownership in the company. I don't really know that there's any companies out there that allow the agents to own the company. So that's important. It's such a gift, and we are built for the future. We have technology like no other. I mean, I got to tell you, the world is a little bit overwhelming to me, but I go in there and I know how much technology is behind that world. And you can go in there and play around all day long. There's shortcuts that I'll tell you about now. Somebody and the world is overwhelming or isn't loading or whatever, and it's called Work Chat. I hope everybody here has Workplace downloaded on their phone, which is really our Facebook for EXP agents. The Work Chat is Messenger for EXP agents. And just like Juliana sitting right here, I can text her, I can call her, I can email her, I can work chat her, and they're all going to get there quick, but the text and the Work Chat. So just keep that in mind. Agent-centric is the word that I just kept hearing, because since it was built by agents for agents, they care about the agents. The agents are the number one concern for EXP. Our number one concern is our clients. And we are EXP's clients, by the way. We're agile. We're built for any market. We're uniquely positioned. We are the AHA company. AHA company, agents helping agents. I mean, truly, what other companies do you know where people that are in the company, real estate companies, by the way, are wanting you to outperform them? They will teach you and train you to outperform them. If every single person in this room does better than I am, that will be the happiest day of my life. I'm telling you, no other company is like that. Themselves, keeping their secrets close to their vest, not sharing. This company is such a sharing company, and everybody that we saw over the last couple of days at shareholders verified that in spades, because they would get up there, they would share their websites, they would share their secrets. They gave us websites where we could go get their templates. Who does that? EXP people do that. That's right. Okay, I'm going to have to grab this. because I do have a lot of for perfection. Always work the long game with your client. Agenda we are trying to fill, not ours. And I know when things shift in the marketplace and you get maybe a paycheck might go down. I mean, it really shouldn't, but if it does, don't affect your decisions with your clients, both listings and buyers. It is their agenda. Always remember, it is their agenda. We have nothing to do with it. We are the conduit. If you're patient with them, it will pay off. And sometimes it's hard. I don't know how many people went through 2008, but I needed a paycheck like I needed like a blood transfusion, but I still had to go with what was best for my clients. I didn't try to rush anything. I didn't try to force anything. And I wish I could, but I never did. Be courageous. Fear is not real. Do you know the acronym for fear? FEAR? False evidence appearing real. So we're seeing and hearing a lot of things that may be bringing up that false evidence appearing real in the marketplace right now. I hope you know that the news stations, the media, everybody, let me find the words that I'm trying to use for that, because what they do is sell advertising. So they're going to be politicizing, sensationalizing, and leveraging the information that, you know, it's all in how you word it. But I have had more people ask me in the last week, so when's the crash going to happen? I'm like, there's not going to be a crash. Why would you think there'd be a crash? Well, I heard that on the news. I go, well, forget about the news. If you ever want to know anything about real estate, they have their finger on the pulse. The other people are trying to sell advertising, and they're doing a darn good job if they're telling everybody that there's going to be a crash, because there's not going to be a crash. This is not 2008. What's going on right now has nothing to do with what went on in 2008. Absolutely nothing. One of the great things about EXP is we have absolutely no debt. I don't know if you knew that, but we have no debt whatsoever. And a couple of weeks ago, there was news that both Compass and Redfin got rid of like 10%, 8%, some percentage of their staff because they were in debt. And the market has shifted. And so these big companies that have got all this staff, and I think Redfin even pays a salary to their agents, they had to let a lot of people go. So EXP has no debt. We've got a lot of staff, but we don't have too much staff because going that's really so smart. Other companies are wishing they had that.
Can I interject one thing?
Absolutely.
On Inman, on June the 22nd,
Uh-huh.
they were talking about the expenses per transaction in the first quarter of 2022. So what it cost the company in overhead, back end, all of that. For Redfin, it was $8,500 per transaction was their back. Fees is $690.
Wow. Yes. Did everybody hear that? I don't know if you can hear Kay or not. Emma's saying no, very light. Okay. Well, we weren't as organized today as I would have liked to have been. The next time we do something like this, we're going to have one of those spaceship speakerphones in the middle of the table, and you're going to be able to hear everything. But what Kay just told me, I'm going to include in some notes that I'll send out to everybody. So anybody that's ever had a corporate job, when you applied for the job, you were told, okay, this is your compensation package. I mean, most real estate agents do not have a compensation package. What they're given is, this is your split, this is what we'll pay for, and this is what you pay for. That's kind of the compensation package. We have a true compensation package because we know what we are getting paid when we walk in the door. We know if we sell a certain amount, and money if you choose. You don't have to. Not want to go down those other two avenues, but she did, and now I think she's okay with it. You know, share we'll talk about later. Stock I'll talk about right now. Right now, just like every other stock in the entire world, if you were ever going to go and just buy stock, now would be the time. And there's a very painless way to buy EXP stock, and that is by letting the company know that you would like 5% of your paycheck to buy stock. And that is readily available in your Morgan Stanley account with EXP, and you can access it and sell it at any time. So just say I bought $100 worth of stock at a 5%. I can sell that tomorrow and I get that 5% paid back to me. You know, holding on to it till EXP stock is higher, because I've seen it while I've been there as high as 40, and I think this morning it was like 12. So, you know, you're buying stock low, but as the stock grows, you still have the stock, and that 5% that comes out of your paycheck, trust me, you will never miss it. You will never miss it. It's forced savings. I would recommend everybody doing that. I mean, you can touch if you need it, but it's over there sitting there, kind of just accumulating wealth. And why wouldn't you want to do that? So we have a true compensation package, 3 ways to make money with the company, and you can go to 100%. You own the company, so the stock is very important to you. Most real estate companies, and I certainly am in there, in 5, 10, or 15-year career, totally different. The compensation package, if you want to call that you have when you walk in the door of most real estate companies, is the same after 5 years, is the same after 10 years, is the same after 15 years. Maybe the split has changed a little bit, but rarely, if ever, will you ever get to 100%. Rarely, if ever, will you be able to have 2 other streams of income. And I was with Prudential / Berkshire Hathaway for a total of 9 years. Stock at all. I mean, I guess I could have gone and bought it, but you know, there was no stock program, no stock awards. We get free stock, as you know. You know, when Juliana sold her first home, I got some stock. When you sold your first home, you got stock and I got stock. You got stock too. Everybody got stock. And my split never changed in 4 years. So emails come out every week from EXP, and I know we all get a lot of emails, and maybe the inclination is just to delete. Last week, there was a great email that came out talking about the download of the week. Who here is familiar with the download of the week? Free download of the week. Okay, Kay is. Every week, there's a free download of the week that gives you some item of value from EXP that's free, customizable, usually area of enterprise. And last week was called the Magic Letter. And as soon as you pull up the Magic Letter, it automatically has your name on there. And you can customize it, but it's very well written. And it's designed for you to send to your sphere or your farming area. And we'll talk about farming some more in a little bit. But they will even mail it for you. Like if you're like, oh, I don't have time to go to the stand, they'll even mail it for you. It'll probably cost a little bit more, but sometimes paying something to have it done is a lot better than thinking about it, wishing you could do it, and never doing it. They also have social media posts. If you're like, oh, what am I supposed to post on social media? They have social media posts in that marketing section. They have flyers. They have business cards. They have so much more, and it's all accessed by that little square in Enterprise. Does everybody know how to get into Enterprise? I know, Kaylee, you don't. I know, Cody. Trust me. Now let's talk. It might be overwhelming. I understand. It serves a very good purpose. But if you want to get in touch with one of the real quick, they are all located in Work Chat. You can just go up state broker. 8 names should appear. You can pick your poison. Just reach out to somebody. If it's the weekend, especially. I don't know if, you know, I need to ask this question. Maybe we can ask this question.
Okay.
If there is ever a broker in charge that is successful over the weekend, do they take charge? Does anybody know that, Karen? Do you know that?
Sorry, you were on mute, or I was on mute. Yes, there should be somebody at all points, a broker in charge in the world. I just encourage my people, if they need a broker in charge, to call me. That's a true story.
Well, absolutely. But sometimes I'm asked a question and I'm like, I don't really know the answer to that. So it's good to have somebody else to fall back on.
I will make a comment on that.
Yeah.
So, if it's after hours, they say just reach out in workplace
Mhm.
and they will get it like that.
World for everything, but
Yeah.
Go ahead, Karen.
Workplace for sure, or there's an email like broker.nc. I mean, you can find that in the world as well. It's everywhere.
Yeah, right. I have not had as good a luck with email as I have with work chat. Just because it's like a text and it's quick and easy.
Would you send it directly to Karen or somebody else?
Well, Karen is,
Right.
but you know, she may not be the one on duty over the weekend.
So if you're messaging them in work chat, who would you message them?
Well, I don't know. Would you write that down to
Yeah,
try to find
and
out?
actually I can answer that because we had somebody this weekend that was out of
Oh,
the
Madison.
country. So Madison needed to get a hold of a BIC. And so she went into workplace. We found out that Karen was on vacation till I think yesterday. So what she did is she searched for North Carolina State Broker. She got the list of the 8 names, started sending the messages through work chat, and she got an answer pretty fast,
Good.
actually.
So there's no central one. You have to just pick one and go with it.
Well, if it's after hours, you need to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I guess that there are definitely, what do you call it? They take turns maybe.
And they all have access to the same email address. So if you guys know when you send Karen something to sign, it goes to that. I think it's NC Broker. That way you don't have to worry if somebody's on vacation.
Yeah,
It's nc.sign.
Yeah, it's NC.sign, which means that all of them have access to it.
right.
Yeah.
Right. So, I know a lot of people are newer and they've just gone through the real estate course, which we all know the real estate course is just really to keep you out of jail. It doesn't teach you how to sell. It doesn't teach you how to list. It doesn't do all that stuff, which hopefully, you know, your mentor at DXP are going to help you with all that. Plus we have 80 hours every week in university that if you're wondering, how do I do this? How do I do that? I bet you there's a class for that. So don't ever forget how many resources we have available to us. And a lot of people, once they come to EXP, there's a whole new education. And, you know, I've heard a couple of times, boy, this is hard. You know what? It isn't hard. It's just different. It's something new. The real estate course was hard, and it was. But now that you're done and through it, I mean, relief. And then here's another job for you, learning all about EXP. But remember, it is a little hard, but it's not so much hard as it is different from what you're used to, especially the world technology. That's a little different too. But remember, we're rule breakers, we're disruptors, we're innovators. That's who we are. So we are going to have different stuff going on than anything you've been used to. I mean, it's totally different than Berkshire Hathaway. We are so glad. And we are different than the average real estate company. So we are going to be a little bit different. Okay, so does anybody have any questions thus far? Talk about farming. I've had a couple of farming training sessions with some newer agents recently, and farming is what is going to get your business off the ground. Farming is, if you don't know everybody, and even if you move to a town where you knew no one, farming is going to get you into people's homes. Trust me. I know a lot of people that are only in real estate like 2.5, and they're selling as much as I am. And I've been in the business 23 years and I've lived here my whole life, and they're not necessarily from around here. So what does that mean? They've just gone after it. Now, maybe you don't have that kind of drive, but I know you want to make some money. So here's some good ideas about how to start. First of all, I want you to be the neighborhood specialist somewhere. Probably your neighborhood would be the very best way to start. But if your neighborhood already has a on themselves, obviously there can't be two, but doesn't mean you can't farm. You just can't call yourself a neighborhood specialist. Find a neighborhood that doesn't have a specialist and become that neighborhood specialist. How do you do that? You know, figure out, do they have events? Do they have a pool? Do they have an activity area? Do they have a newsletter? You can start doing all those things. We talked to somebody that, you know, is looking to do it of town, and, you know, you go and you knock on doors. I tell you that, you know, it's effective to email and text. It's effective, but it is efficient to call and to drop by. If you want to be efficient in your real estate business, those are the two things that you need to do. Effective, I also say that texting and email is for information, and calls and visits are for community. So confused over a text that they finally call me and they go, "What are you talking about?" Or I call them and I go, "What are you talking about?" Because the tone is not there in text, and people also mess up and, you know, don't type the right thing. But if you really want to get the job done, pick up the phone. The phone does not weigh 500 pounds. I know you think it does. I know it feels like it when you pick it up. This is like how old I am that you actually are still picking up the phone. But pick up that 500-pound. I mean, you'll feel good after the phone call. They'll feel good that you made a phone call, because my phone doesn't hardly ever ring anymore. Everybody texts me and everybody emails me and or messages me. When my phone's ringing, I know it's you know, a potential spam trying to sell me something, because nobody calls me anymore. When my phone rings and it's somebody I know, I kind of get excited. Your clients will too when you call them. Go to every single thing you're invited. Make what I call a cameo appearance. And you know what? Shamelessly wear your name tag. And when people say, "Oh, you still have your name tag on, Juliana," you go, "Oh, I do. Oh, hey," and walk away. So that is what I did for years. I wore it the minute I got up and got dressed. I put on my jewelry, I put on my name tag, no matter what outfit I was wearing. Even if I went to the gym, I was wearing it at the gym. And inevitably, every single day, at least one person, like, duh. And then I'd say, "Oh, yeah, I am. Oh, I didn't know I was wearing it." And then they'd ask me a real estate question.
Yeah, because I went to my last appointment in my gym clothes and I wore my name tag and I just forgot to take it out.
I know. No, I'm older, so I have to remind myself who I actually am, you know, whatever you want to say. But the name tag's important. And we always want to remind people what we do. Top of mind awareness is going to get that phone ringing. And the more you remind people that when they, go to everything you're invited to, opening up an envelope if I thought I'd meet a new client. I go to networking events. I go to, and it's exhausting sometimes, but I mean, I've got a lot of business. So it just, a lot of people are not that social. Of course, you know, it's not too much of a hardship because I am pretty social. I collect cards, I collect names, and there's so many digital business cards now. I've got hi, hello. I think, you know, Kay's got something else. Everybody's got these digital business cards. You can give your digital business card in the line at the grocery store, at the gym, whatever. It's really easy. You don't have to actually carry paper business cards around with you anymore. And a lot of people have this, send them your information. It's possible they might not use it right away, but then again, they might. And I always use the third party approach to people. I never ask them specifically, "Hey, Juliana, let me help you buy your next home or sell your next home." Because Juliana's like backing up going, no, I don't want people to ask me stuff like that. But if I say, "Juliana, listen, I would love for you to help me. If you know any of your friends or family looking to buy or sell real estate, will you keep me talk to?" Now, doesn't that feel a lot better? But you know, at the same time, I'm telling Juliana, I'm an agent and I'm looking for business, but she's thinking, well, you know, I might use her when I'm going to buy next year. So, but that third party approach takes the pressure off and allows you to talk to people without feeling like you're begging for their business. You're just asking them for some help, and everybody loves to help everybody else. I better hurry. I don't know where I am. Oh yeah, I gotta go. Hold on. Always have cards with you, or at least a digital version. You never don't want to be able to give people your contact number, and nobody has a piece of paper and a pencil anymore.
What do you use for your digital card? I use like sharing my contact information with them. I have it all set up like that, but what do you
Hi,
use?
hello.
What is that?
It's an app. Hi, hello.
All right.
And it's super easy, and you can make it a QR code on your home screen and shine their camera on your home screen, and your digital card pops up. It's really easy and it's free. Free, love free.
The other one is milkshake. That's the one they were telling us about in the KB
Oh,
core
that's like
training.
Linktree. That's like a social media thing.
But it's got all your stuff on it.
Yeah.
And you can put your picture on that.
We're
particular
talking about
one.
milkshake that we've
Send it.
heard a lot about through KB core training. Okay, so when I was shareholders event, lots of things really resonated with me. But one of the things that Brent Gove said, which he's at the top of our team here, he talked about a vision board. And I used to have a vision board a long, long time ago, back when I had nothing and drove a Pinto. I had a vision board. I had pictures of pretty houses, I had pictures of nice cars, I had pictures of pretty jewelry, because I had none of that. And pictures of vacations that my daughter, I mean, this was even before my grandchildren were born. I just had pictures of everything that I wanted in my life, but it wasn't in my life right now. It was right above my computer in my office, and I looked at it every single day. So on some days when I got up and I thought, I don't really want to work today, or I don't want to pick up that 500-pound phone, I'd look at all the things that I wanted, and I said, they are not coming to you. If you want them, you have to work for them. And but it is on my grocery list to make sure that I don't forget about it. I'm gonna go buy the board. I'm gonna start cutting stuff out of magazines, and I'm gonna make another one because, of course, my vision board has changed. I have a nice car. I go on nice trips. I have all the jewelry I'll ever need for the rest of my life. But there are a lot of things that I want to do, and one of them is I want to build a well in Ghana. I met a real estate agent when I was out at the wells in Ghana, and she says, once you, number one thing you do every single year in your charitable donations. She said, you just would not believe. As soon as she told me, I was like, yep, I'm going to do that. Well, I'm not going to do that every single day, reminding me, this is what I'm working for. This is what I'm going for. So vision boards, I would highly recommend them. Everybody here, Janina is not new, Kay is not new, Juliana is not new, but everybody else here is pretty new. Well, Kaylee, you're not super new, but you're new. I mean, Kaylee isn't even with EXP yet, but I'm hoping she's gonna be. She's with another company right now, but she's a little restless, or as some people says, has a pebble in her shoe. And I think EXP might be able to get that pebble out of her shoe and make her feel a little bit better. But don't suffer in silence when you're new. Don't be frustrated and suffer in silence. If you have a problem, I want you to come to me, or you go to whoever, you go to Chad and Tom. No one can read your mind. If you are frustrated, disappointed, whatever, please come to us and tell. We're not going to think you're whining. You don't understand something, or if something isn't, clear in your brain, let us help you figure that out, or let us find somebody to help you figure that out. Deborah knows for sure that I whine every single day about something I can't do, but if I suffered in silence, we would never get anything done. So do not suffer in silence. Tell the people that you're involved with, hey, you know what? I just don't get this sky slope thing. Hey, I don't understand this KB core stuff. Let us, you're struggling with, do not suffer in silence. Lean on other people. That is what we're here for. We want to help you, because if you're successful, we're going to be successful. Just remember that. I love the old crab bucket theory. I don't know if y'all have ever gone crabbing, but say you've got a whole bunch of crabs in your bucket. Yay, we did good crabbing today. Well, there's always going to be one guy that tries to get out of there, and he's climbing. And the other crabs say, buddy, you're not leaving us. And they reach up and they grab him and they try to pull him back down. That is the complete opposite of our company. We are all the crabs pushing him up. Get out of here. Get out of here. Do better. So remember that. We are here to lift you up. Absolutely. Okay, that shareholders event was first class all the way. I was so impressed. When we would have breakouts and you go outside, and there'd usually be, like a big jug coffee that didn't taste good, and not very impressive. Okay, so let me tell you about our breakout sessions. Deviled eggs. Starbucks coffee, a whole array of tea with different kinds of honey, a mixed nut bar, protein bars, really good protein bars. I know I was a little bit of a kleptomaniac. I took a protein drinks, smoothies. I mean, it was incredible. And that's not why I want you to go. I'm just telling you what impresses me, which is food, because I'm a foodie. Did I forget anything? No. But and the food that they had at events, just first class all the way. So Emma and Patsy and I, and then Alejandra from Florida, that's on Patsy's team. We all four got relocation certified. I know Kay's not very happy about that because she's taken, what is it, a 10-hour course?
It took 4 3-hour courses for me to do what she did in 3 hours, but you're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. So we're relocation certified now, and the relocation department is going to get super busy. They're already busy, but they're going to get super busy because we have companies that are coming to North Carolina, in our area of North Carolina. We've got Boom Supersonic. We've got the Toyota plant. There's going to be a lot going on. So I would highly advise, it's a free course. I wish you could have gotten certified in 3 hours like me, but Kay went through the course, and it is business that they will bring you. Yes, you have to pay a relocation fee. It is business you would not have. So something, always pay a relocation fee for business that I wouldn't have had anyway. Why not? Why not? Because there are things called tentacles off of every single transaction. So if I get a relocation company lead, and it's somebody that, you know, maybe is from California, they don't know anybody here, but they start meeting all these people in the neighborhood. When they say, hey, who was call from somebody in that neighborhood that I never location person, it happens all the time. That is called organic referrals. That is what we all want to. Where I have been for about the last 5 or 6 years, and let me tell you how refreshing it is. It's somebody who said, I talked to Juliana. She told me you were the greatest agent, and I want you to come talk to me about helping us sell our home and helping us buy a home. And I'm like, I'm glad I did that referral for Juliana, because look what's come from it. And then those people will have tentacles too after I do a good job with them. So always look at a referral as being a great thing. It is business you would not have had anyway. We also got REO, which is real estate owned. Not really sure why they call it that, but what it is foreclosures. Well, we know since there's not going to be a crash, there's really not going to be a lot of foreclosures. But if you get a foreclosure relocation referral, I mean, again, it's something that you would not have. And usually the relocation, the bank has really already taken care of all the bad mess most of the time. I did a lot of foreclosures back in the day, but I mean, some of them were hideous. And then sometimes the banks and the relocation company took care of everything. So you walked into a house and you're like, really? You left it looking this good? You know, not all of them were that way. But we have a couple of new partners that are coming in that I am so excited about. One is called Zoocasa, Zoocasa. It is a Canadian company that last year gave about 30,000 referrals out to various real estate companies in the United States, not Canada. That was not EXP, but we bought them. So now those 30,000 referrals are going to come to everybody in the United States. So that is going to be announced July 1st. It'll probably be in one of those emails that you get that you've been deleting. Read it this time. Sphere Rocket. Now, I've got a real live assistant, but maybe you're not at a point in your career where you need a real live assistant. I used a virtual assistant before I got a real live assistant, and they're basically transaction coordinators. And we have partnered with a company called Sphere Rocket, and they're virtual assistants. And they are trained in real estate. So, you know, they're trained in SkySlope, they're trained in everything that they're supposed to do. You just need to give them you know, the information that they need to work with, and then they take over. So that's something, when you start getting stressed out and grinding your teeth at night, it's time for a virtual
I
assistant.
see you're looking.
I'm not looking at you, I'm just like glancing at you. And then lastly is affinity. I don't know too much about that yet, but what that's going to include is police departments, schools, fire departments, healthcare workers, and it's like a referral group for those categories. So EXP Relocation is working with those people that, you know, they get paid an amount of money, which is why they charge us an amount of money. And, you know, once again, business we wouldn't have had. So make sure your profiles on everything are up to date. If you have designations, if you have specialties, if you speak another language, you make sure you are shouting that out loud and clear, because they are probably going through and doing searches to see who speaks Spanish, who's a SRES, who's a luxury certified seller. They're looking for these people. So if you don't tell people that, you will not get picked. This is where you brag on your profile. Just remember, it's your resume and you're applying for a job and you want to get that job. So put that information down. Okay, so our keynote speaker was Jay Shetty, Shetty. He was awesome. He was very good looking and he was awesome. He used to be a monk. And he's got a book out called Think Like a Monk. And it's really funny because Patsy was already reading that book when we found out Jay Shetty was our keynote speaker. I haven't bought the book yet because I got 18 in front of it, but if you're looking for a good book, Jay Shetty, he talked about connected thinking versus disconnected thinking. And maybe you don't know what that means, but let's think about this. Connected thinking is you're always into something. Instead of you see something, you just like, don't go any further with that. Not trying new things, not looking at different perspectives. One thing he told me, and I really am going to start doing this because, you know, I think one way. Kaylee thinks one way. Kay thinks one way. Everybody thinks their own way. Well, you know that there's other ways to think. It's not just you. Us Leos think it is all just about us, but I know that that's not true. He said, reach out to someone who thinks totally different than you do and ask their opinion about something and just see from another perspective where somebody is coming from. Because you might learn something. You might say, you know what? I never even thought about it that way. It might just change your mind. It might just change your life. So, you know, don't always think that you're right. And if you're thinking, you know, I've got this situation and I'm pretty sure this is what I should do, call somebody that you know probably will have a different opinion. Doesn't mean you have to take that, but it may be eye-opening. The old mindset can sometimes keep you from moving forward. So be open-minded to new ideas, new things, and new people. A lot of people have been very concerned over the last 5 weeks because there's been a definite cool down in the marketplace. I mean, honestly, and I'm sorry if this upsets you, if your business is not like mine, but I'm kind of glad. I'm kind of glad there's been a slowdown. Deborah's really glad. But I mean, you'll be where I am one day. You're newer in the business. You can't expect to be as busy as I am yet, but you could be. You could be. You could get out there and hit it so hard every single day that you're grinding your teeth at night like me. But that's what night guards are for. And you can afford night guards when you're making money. So, but when you're in the storm, whatever the storm happens to be, personal, financial, health, whatever, it is very hard to see that there is an end to the storm. And I can tell you for sure that that's the truth, because in 2008, 9, 10, 11, and probably most of 12, I thought this is never going to end. Well, of course it's going to end. That was extreme, almost 5 years. This is a cool down. It is not a bubble bursting. It is not a crash. It is not anything. It is, here are the things. People are frustrated. For the past 2 years, and especially for the last 6 months, offer after offer after offer, people have been losing, and they're tired and they're taking a break. So there's one thing. Sellers that should have sold a year ago are finally getting the message. Hey, it's a seller's market. So they're coming on the market and there is more inventory. So there's more inventory that's staying on the market longer, and they were coming out of the gate loud and proud with too high prices for a while. Now you're starting to see price reduce, and they're reducing it down to actually where it should be. I mean, are you amazed at how long? And when I say how long, 7, 8 days on market. I mean, that never used to happen. I saw one the other day, 12 days on market. And I was like, what's wrong with it? I mean, you know what the average days on market used to be years ago? 6 months.
Yeah.
6 months was the average days on market. So, you know, there's always history. Don't let whatever storm you're involved in right now bog you down, because there's light at the end of the tunnel. It is not a train. It is sunshine coming your way. Okay, now here's just mindset, and this is from Jay Shetty. If you believe the outcome will be negative, guess what? It will. And you won't even try. But what's the worst thing that can happen when you ask somebody something? They'll say no. They're not going to say, how dare you ask me that? Juliana, don't ever speak to me again. Don't ever call me again. That's not going to happen. And no doesn't mean never. It just means not now. The people are not ready for your message or your ask or whatever it is that you're offering or trying to get them to see right now. No doesn't mean never. It means not right now. Have unshakable confidence in yourself, belief in yourself. And if you don't, and I will tell you, I long time ago had a very bad self-esteem problem. I still have a little girl inside of me that sometimes right before she knocks on the door at a listing says, are you going to get it? Yeah, you're going to get it. I mean, I talk to myself because there's a little girl or a little boy in all of us that has doubts about, you know, their performance. So have unshakable confidence in yourself. How do you get that? I got 10 steps on how to get better self-esteem. And I'll send this list out to everybody, but you know, you might write them down, because I feel like when you write things down, it goes from your brain to your hand and back to your brain. Writing things down really gets into me. Okay, self-esteem is the single core root of how we accomplish everything in our life, family, job, health, etc. Here are ways to train and increase your self-esteem. And I looked at this list and I was like, you know what? I can do better. And here we go. Hold the word and promises you make to every single person in your life. You know, if you tell somebody, you know, I'll call you next week, you better dang call them next week. If you tell your child or your husband or your wife or your girlfriend, boyfriend, best friend that, yeah, we're going to do that, and you don't do that, you may not even know that it's chipping away at your self-esteem, but it is. Hold your promises to yourself. And then in parentheses, I have cake next to that. You know why? Because he said, okay, you made a promise that morning when you got up, I'm going to eat well today. I'm going to eat only vegetables, fruit, lean meats. I'm going to drink a lot of water. And I have donuts behind me. Yes. But I didn't say that this morning. But if I had said that this morning, you're not going to eat any sugar, Kathy. And then I go to Krispy Kreme and I eat 5 donuts. Have I kept that promise to myself? No, I have not. So that's going to chip away at my self-esteem. I usually do not tell myself I am not going to eat sugar, because I know that's probably not going to happen that day, or it is going to happen. But it, you know, hold promises to yourself. I'm going to work out 3 days a week, and 2 weeks later you've worked out 1 time. That's going to make you feel bad about yourself. So, I mean, don't tell yourself you're going to do it unless you plan on keeping the promises to yourself too. Be a finisher and finish what you start. So now my taxes are out on my dining room table and they are not leaving until I'm finished with them. Sacrifice time, energy, and money and do what you need to do instead of what you want to do. Then you will be able to get what you want, but not until you sacrifice time, energy, and money. What's easy to do is easy not to do. Build a new skill set, and this can be anything. It could be a second language. It could be playing the piano. It could be gardening. It could be a new designation. But building new skill sets makes you feel better about yourself. Work hard enough to convince yourself of your deservedness. I will tell you that when I first started making really good money, that little girl in me would say every once in a while, boy, did you luck out. And you know what? I didn't look out. I was working so hard. I should have realized I deserved every penny I made and then some, but I had to convince my inner child that that's what I was doing. So if you're not working hard, but you're expecting different results, then look in the mirror and saying, am I working hard enough to expect to get what I want? Do the right thing behind closed doors and not just in public. That's really important. Help someone do good without expectation of reciprocity. So it's kind of like that pay it forward when you're at the Wendy's drive-through and you pay for the people behind you and then you drive off. They don't know who you are. But boy, is that a good feeling. I don't, I like to look behind me, and if I see a woman with a car full of kids and I can tell from the look on her face that she's exhausted, I'll say, have you rung them up yet? Yeah, I'm paying for it. And then just as I pull out of the parking lot, it almost makes me want to cry. I look in my rear view mirror and I'm like, oh, I love that. Because all the kids are yelling and the mom looks so happy. Never quit once you have a vehicle proven to work. And in this case, it's CXP because it has been proven. This company is going places. Just adjust until you become successful because you see it happening with lots of different people. So it can happen. And if you're not doing the things you need to do to make it happen, then adjust. And, if you want to figure out how to make that happen, you come talk to us. We'll come up with a plan. We're going to give you homework and we may give you some accountability. But if you want to make it, let's come up with a plan. Okay. So, those are the things that I think will help all of us build self-esteem. And there's some good stuff there for me too. So I did send out the email to everybody about Brian Buffini's mid-year podcast telecast a couple of days ago. And Kevin lives across the street from me. So he came over and watched it with me. And we were both taking notes furiously. And here are some takeaways that I got. And a lot of these takeaways, because Brian Buffini is a real estate agent, first of all, but he's a business person. So he comes up with really good things that you can start solidifying in your brain. So when you meet people in the grocery store line or at cocktail parties, because they always want to talk to you about real estate, or when you go and sit down with a buyer or a seller, these are some tidbits that you can tell them. And you know what they're going to think? Juliana knows her stuff. Look at her spouting off these statistics. And Lawrence Yoon, who's the senior economic advisor for National Association of Realtors, if you've never heard him speak, he knows what he's talking about. It's all about real estate for him. And he's not an alarmist or, he just shoots straight, tells it like it is. So he was on this telecast too. Brian Buffini says, be the trusted source of all information regarding real estate. Don't let your people watch, any of the news programs. And when you send them notes, remember to tell them anytime you have a real estate question, anytime you want to know about any house, anywhere, because, we have NAR, RPR. It is National Association of Realtors gift to us for us paying dues to them. It's called Realtors Property Resource. And if you don't know about that, it will put together some Mac Daddy listing presentations for you, give you stats about walkability scores and things like that. And on July 20th, when I do the Buyer A to Z Crush series, I'm going to be telling you about how I arrive at prices for listings, because that is the bane of most realtors' existence, is coming up with the price. And I have found a way to get as close as I possibly humanly can. And it's a compilation of several different algorithm, automated valuation modules out there. But NAR, RPR also has an AVM, automated valuation model, and it is probably the most on point from Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com, and of course we have our matrix MLS. But I'm telling you, you need to look at all this stuff. And RPR out there gives you so much information. I don't know why everybody isn't using it. A lot of people don't even know what it is. So NAR, RPR, you've never logged in, you don't have to tell me. Just go in, set it up, and you're going to be going, oh my God, there's so much information in here. And it really is that. But you want to be the trusted source of information. So in a little bit, I'm going to give you guys some homework, even the new ones, even if you don't have past clients. We're going to just have you cherry pick some of your friends and do this. And I'll tell you in a minute what we're going to do. Start calling new homes on the market fresh inventory, because sellers like to think of themselves as being fresh, and fresh inventory is exactly what they're going to be when they come on the market. Say there's a lot of buyers out there. They've seen every single thing that's out there. You are going to be fresh inventory. Doesn't that sound good? I loved that. Okay. Separate fact from fiction. Cut through the minutia and let people know there's no bubble, there's no crash, there's nothing getting ready to pop. Separate fact from fiction and use those words. Listen, I'm going to separate fact from fiction because there's so much news out there. None of it's right. I'm in real estate. I listen and hear about it every single day. Let me tell you what kind of market we have. Okay, so this is Lauren Shune. U.S. home equity is the highest level ever in the history of homes. So you tell your sellers that. The Fed's biggest rate hike last week was the largest in 28 years since 1994. I mean, that's serious. That could be scary, but let's just keep going. And our interest rate has doubled in 6 months. Here are a few stats for you. And these aren't fun stats, but they're true stats. And it tells people we don't know if the interest rate's going to go any higher. So now is still the best time to buy. I mean, I don't know if we'll ever see high twos, low threes again. Don't know. We might see fours, we might see fives, we might see eights. So at 5.87, I think is what it was this morning. That may be the best it is for the next 5 to 10 years. So it's still a great time to buy. Is it as good as 6 months ago? No. We can't look back. We can't go back and buy a house 6 months ago. So we got to deal with what we've got today. So this is kind of interesting. On a $400,000 loan in 2021 at 3% interest, the mortgage payment was $1,600 up and some change. In 2022, with 5.7% interest, a $400,000 loan is $2,700 mortgage payment, $1,100 more a month. So see, do you want it to get any worse? Now is the best time to buy. It now is the best. Don't let people think they missed the boat. They did not miss the boat. Today is the best time to buy. It's going to be better than tomorrow. It's still better than renting. Rental rates have gotten even higher than most people's mortgage rates for half the space. Half the space. And you don't own it. You can't paint it. There's no equity when you walk away. I mean, it's still, the rising rents are worse than the mortgage rates. So here is Lauren Shune's prediction. Home sales will go down. Home sales will go down until mortgage rates stabilize. Because right now, they're like this. And there's unrest because people aren't sure. But you're going to tell them today is still the best time to buy because we don't really think they're going to go down. Inflation kind of rules the roost here with the interest rates. And I think based on, grocery store, gas, everything like that, we are going to have some inflation for a while. So interest rates are not going to get any better. But people are hoping they will, hoping gas will go down, and it's gone down a little bit. We may be at the peak, but we don't know. And inflation is going to rule this. His advice is to tighten up, always have 3 months supply of your bills if you can. Save your money. Don't spend it needlessly when there's, except for Kay. Kay can't spend money. Kay's going on a little trip. We'll talk about that later. Invest in your business to grow. And of course, they're saying that because they want you to join their coaching team because he's doing all this. But I have a coach. I know Juliana has a coach. Does anybody else have a coach? Okay, well, that's fine. You don't have to have a coach. But I felt like I needed something. I think Juliana felt like she needed a little something. And, whoever you use, even if it's like, just a mentor, invest in your business with designations, education, whatever like that. So he wants you to get more referrals, which means talking to more people and asking them for their friends and family's recommendation. Please remind me. And, every 2 months, they say you should touch somebody 8 times a year, but every 2 months, you should reach out in some way, shape, or form. Items of value, which Brian Buffini is always big about, is, like Craig McKinney with the North Carolina Department of Transportation sends out 4 times a year a road report. And it's really pretty, it's nice. And if you're not on his list, you can get on his list, and I'll tell you how. He sends us the newsletter, and Deborah just forwards it to my database. And most people were like, oh, this is great information. Thanks. I didn't know when the Elm Street Loop was going to open. It's great information. I'm not trying to sell them anything, but my name and logo and the fact that I'm a realtor is plastered all over it. And, it's just one more reminder who I am and what I do. Another thing that Brian Buffini is all about, and Brian Buffini, not himself, but one of his coaches, I used them for a year when I was at Berkshire Hathaway. And I did this thing called pop buys, which they recommend. And I bought most of my stuff at the dollar store, which is now called the $1.25 store. As far as, and there's nothing there. There's $1 anymore. But I'd go by there and get some little, like for 4th of July, I would get like a spatula, or I'd get a little grill towel. And then I'd attach my business card and I'd drop it by people in my farming area. And I'd get phone calls. Oh my God, I got your towel. My towel that cost a whole $1. You're welcome. But it didn't matter. It's just like the handwritten note. Who gets a little thrill when they open up the mailbox and there is a note card there and someone has handwritten your name and address on there? I get a thrill because I'm like, who wrote me? Who took the time to fill this out? And what's it going to say inside? I get so excited over handwritten note cards. We should all be doing a lot of that. A lot of it. If you run into somebody at the grocery store and they do give you your name and number, it's really easy to go into Real List or 360 and look up their address. Send people note cards. It's one more way that you're, infiltrating. And you're not, and it is infiltrating. But if you just meet somebody at a cocktail party, look up their address, send them a note and say, it was so great to meet you last week. Why do you think this is so funny?
Because I do that like as an instinct as a former detective, but I also am always trying to find a line between creepy and like realtor.
Yeah. Well, there may not
have 3 kids on Facebook.
There may not be much of a line between creepy and realtor, but it works. And the worst thing that can happen is they take it and they throw it in the trash can.
Oh my God, stalker.
But they will remember you.
But like 4 out of 5 will be happy.
There's no private information, and everybody knows that. Anybody, not just realtors, but anybody can look up anything. Because how many of you guys are getting letters, emails, texts about, you want to sell your house to me? I'm an investor. Do you want to sell your house? Where do you think they're getting that information? Where everybody can get that information. And I usually just say, I'm a realtor. Please don't call me again. Okay. So we want more net income, not just gross commission income, which means that don't spend money. Market has been, the market has changed a little bit. Houses are on the market a little bit longer. And one of the things that Brian Buffini says, get everything that you deserve. You are a pro, and the pros are going to survive this little downturn that we're in right now. There's a lot of people that over the past 2 years, they got involved in real estate because they heard it was wonderful, making all this money. So just about anybody could have sold a house over the past 2 years. Honestly, it wasn't that hard. But now it's going to require skills, and you're going to have to be professional. And those are the people that will survive. Everybody's paying dues, I know, and dues are due by tomorrow in case. Yeah, there you go. Dues are due tomorrow to your MLS and your local association. If you don't pay them, I think you get a little bit of a grace period, but don't take that chance. And there will be so many people that don't renew tomorrow just because of the last 5 weeks. That was too tough on them.
To remind us
They
if you
did.
have it on auto renew, they just send you an email that says you paid it. Thanks.
Okay, but I did get an email. In fact, I got 2 emails, I think.
And privilege licenses also due before
Oh,
the end
yeah.
of June.
Correct. Privilege
You get a
license
mail,
too.
like a-
And
Yeah,
so,
old-fashioned.
and more time off, and we'll talk about more time off in a minute. Okay, so those of you that have had transactions, clients prior to 2021, because 20 and 2021, don't mess with them. But clients prior to 2021, provide a CMA to them, one that they can understand. And CMA is comparative market analysis. Don't ask them, just send it. And say, thought you might like to see what your home value is doing. I mean, that's another 8-point touch throughout the year.
After how much time?
No, not at any time
No, you said don't bother the
Intimate.
ones from last year, but how many years do you let go by before you do that?
prior to 2021.
Oh, okay.
Anybody you sold prior to
2 years ago.
2021. And Yasmin, you haven't sold one yet, but you got a couple people on the line. So you pick out a couple of friends that you know own their home and bought it before 2021, and I will help you with that CMA and send it to them and say, hey, just thought you might like to see what your home value's doing. And I'll help you figure out how to do that. Do a quick letter
Hey,
and mail.
Kathy,
Yeah,
could I jump in on what you just said?
yeah.
There are a lot of people on this group called Girls with Grit that Lauren Rocco runs. She does an amazing job. She spends a ton of time training young agents and fresh agents, and they
Yeah.
call it a HERS report, home equity something report. And she puts together a little package for her friends or 50 people at a time and says, here's the equity potential. You have to use those words potential because we don't know for sure if they have it or don't have it. And they
Okay.
just drop it by people's houses, and people are coming up with listings this way. They have in there some kind of recommendation or a referral from somebody else. I can write you a recommendation if you don't have one. It's just a little nice packet that's printed off. They use Canva. A lot of people are using Canva. Alexa and I were talking about this yesterday.
Okay.
So we're going to put together some things. Alexa, you are going to be here Tuesday, and I'll be here, and Alexa will be here. We're going to put together some things that we can share with our group. But Etsy has some really cute things. Etsy, ETSY, for real estate on top of what EXP offers. And it's so cheap. People just sit around and graphic design work. You can come up with some great stuff too, just for you to help build your business, even if you're on a team, because a team is just a brokerage where people are building their own businesses. Okay. Sorry to interrupt you. But I thought that was
that's great news. And the potential equity.
Potential equity. Now,
Right.
yeah, today's potential equity. So
But
hurry.
also, what I was going to say is don't email this. I was going to say snail mail it, but I like even better dropping it by. Yeah.
Drop it by. Yeah. That's what they're doing. That's what a lot of those girls are doing. They're coming up with a listing here or there. And that's what it's all about. It's just about that consistent action. Sorry to interrupt.
And maybe
Matthew, this
these
is great.
people are not the least bit interested in selling, but they're going to remember that you did that for them.
What's
And they may hold on to it.
stickers? What's on Etsy? Stickers? What is she talking about?
Templates,
Oh,
templates and
Canva
ideas.
templates? Oh,
No,
What's she
just
talking about?
just
there are
templates,
some
different.
Canvas, but
She said, just
all
put
kinds.
real estate ideas in Etsy, and all kinds of things will come.
I've been on before. I didn't see what she's talking about. I'm not
Okay.
sure what the
Did you
concept
say,
is.
Karen, you said real estate ideas? Is that what you put in?
Sorry, you're on mute. Type in real estate templates.
Oh, templates. Okay.
And whole entire packages of things will come up. And there's some really pretty things in there that make your business look really professional. So we create all of our own stuff, but you can buy a lot of really amazing things on Etsy, or you can do them through Canva, or there's so many little apps. It's just about doing it all the time, like what you're saying.
Consistency, correct. Correct. So along those same lines, an example of something you could say, if they put $50,000 down and their home has appreciated 50,000, they have now at least 100% return on their investment. Those are his figures, not mine. But you know, that could be very powerful. And he says, nothing beats face-to-face. Nothing you can email, nothing you can text, nothing you can snail mail is going to beat face-to-face. Face-to-face. The Popeyes, I did them for a year. I really think that they increased my business. I still have people talking about those 4th of July grills. And I mean, grill towels. And they were so tiny, they would barely dry your hands, but they had fireworks on them. And people are ready to party after COVID. I mean, COVID's still around. We know that, but people are so desperate for face-to-face contact. So think about putting an event together in your farming area. I used to own and was the queen of Hamilton Village. I lived there. I wrote the newsletter. I was on the board of directors. I did the Easter egg hunt. I did a yard sale once a year, sometimes twice a year. And my name was on all the signs that went in every single cul-de-sac. So hopefully these are giving you some ideas of some things you can do. If your neighborhood has a pool, you know, talk about having something, you know, doing something. There's so many different ideas out there. Now, this is not anything that I consider, but it's a really great idea. The interest rates may feel like they're the end of the world, but it really isn't. They've been so much worse. Tell your buyers to look at the 5 to 7 year fixed rates. Now, I always advise people to talk to their mortgage people because I don't know a lot about mortgages and I don't know, but you know, what's right and what's wrong. But he said the ARMs and the 5 to 7 year fixed rates instead of the 30-year fixed, because then they can refi later on if the prices drop and they're not into this 30-year fixed. I don't know. It sounds like a good idea.
It's true, like State Employees Credit Union, which not everybody has access to, still has a 3.75% 5-year ARM that can only adjust up 2% every 5 years.
Every
So you
5
have
years.
at least 10 years worth of rates that are lower than what we have now.
Correct. And I imagine all the credit unions would be that way, just not
Is that right?
SECU.
Marry the house, date the mortgage rate.
Well, I like that.
Say that again.
Marry the house, date the mortgage rate.
Okay, this is wild, very wise words from Kay Brinkley. Marry the house, date the interest rate. That's a good one. Okay, he says to have fun because a lot of people haven't been having fun over the past 2 years because we couldn't get outside for a long, long time. He said, take mini trips, take staycations, tell everybody you're going out of town and don't, and then turn your phone off. And he says, when you go, it just for like a mini weekend trip, he said, do it upright. Fly first class, get the suite, eat in the expensive restaurant. I mean, you deserve it. You need to treat yourself well. I like that. Okay. In 2 to 3 years, this is important. 2/3 of all millennials will own a home. Kaylee and I were talking about this yesterday. This is the new segment of society that's going to be roaring to the mortgage companies. They didn't want a home after watching their parents cry and whine and go through the recession of 2008. A lot of them had to go through short sales, had to go through foreclosures. Lots of people lost their jobs. Everybody had to cut back. They quit getting their new clothes. You know what? Homes did not mean security for a lot of these millennials growing up. But after experiencing the rental rates that they're paying right now, they've changed their mind. So millennials are a hotbed of future customers. Just keep that in mind. It's a pro market now. I think we'd already talked about him saying that. Only the strong are going to survive. Specialize and tell people about it. Brag about what you have worked hard to get. I know I do. I mean, people are like, I see you everywhere and you just got this award and you just got that new designation. I'm like, my diabolical plan is working. I just go, thank you, thank you, thank you. Most of the time I blame it on you. Oh, my assistant posts all that stuff. Specialize and tell people about it. Get your SRES. That's one of the best designations that I ever got. Senior real estate specialist. And I get calls all the time. I help people at River Landing, Abbotswood, Heritage Greens, Wellspring, Friends Home, because those directors know I got a special designation for working with the older population. And there are a lot of older. So there's the millennials and then there's the older population. The rest of us are in the middle. But those two populations are selling off their big houses and they're moving into retirement communities or to one stories if they can find them. Kevin is not here with us today because he's taken the introduction to commercial real estate, which EXP is offering a free 3-day course, you know, just to give you kind of a taste.
I signed up and then couldn't do everything. in
Yeah,
one day.
well, you know, they'll do it again, but just keep an eye out for all the opportunities that this company has to offer. Okay, so just like Juliana, who did not want to attract anybody to EXP, I'm going to tell a few ideas for those of you that might be interested in having your friends and real estate agent friends join our company. So it's not what you say, it's how you say it, because a lot of people go, I don't know what to say to them. Just tell them about how you like EXP, why you like EXP, what you think about EXP. I mean, you do not have to give them, you know, the Brent Gove, the model explained out of your mouth. That's why we have that video to give people. After you've talked to people and piqued their interest, then send them that video and let him do the rest. He's the expert. We're just letting people know what we like about the company. Brent Gove talked about this movie, and I haven't been able to watch it yet, but it's called Cinderella Man. And it was Renee Zellweger and what's that other guy? Anyway, it doesn't matter, but it's a true story about a fighter, James Braddock. And after you watch that movie, you may feel a little bit different about your life. That's all I'm going to say. But here are some facts, he said, and everybody needs to just, you know, man up or woman up and listen to this. Life is not fair. No one ever said life is fair, and it's not fair. You are entitled to absolutely nothing. Bad things happen to good people, and no one is going to come and save you. If it's going to be, it's up to me. And that's what you need to say every single day. If all these other things, if you know, you are not entitled, if you get an inheritance, if you win the lottery, yay. But the majority of people, they have to make their own fortune. And this is interesting because he said, what you are begging God to take from you, whatever that happens to be, is exactly what he sent you on purpose to make you stronger or smarter or better. So figure out why this thing that you want gone from your life is in your life. There probably is a pretty good message there. Short-term pain, long-term gain. It isn't magic, it's motion. It's consistency, like Karen just said a few minutes ago. If you stay in your head, you're dead, because your head will always say, oh, you can't do that. You shouldn't do that. They're going to say no. They're not going to like you. You know, don't stay in your head. What is the worst thing that can happen if someone tells you no? They say no, and you go, well, thanks for listening. I mean, that's the worst thing that can happen. And he says, ready, aim, fire, and keep firing. Don't fire, aim, and then get ready. So be prepared when you go on an appointment, when you meet with people, when you're going to talk with people, be ready, be prepared. That way you can ready, aim, and fire. And it all starts with one conversation. Don't start the conversation with EXP unless they come to you and they say, I want to talk to you about EXP. I think you did. Anyway. You came to me, but if
With a glass of wine in my hand.
with a glass of wine in your hand, but if someone is, if like Amir, you know, you sat down with Amir, you probably didn't, well, he may have asked you, you may have asked him, I don't know how it went, but typically you don't start the conversation with, let me tell you everything about EXP. What I like to do is I like to find out, what do they like about the company that they're with? What don't they like about the company? And like the pebble in the shoe I talked about earlier, usually there's something about their current company they don't like that EXP can take care of. And this is something, Emma and I have been laughing quite a bit about this, but don't EXP all over them. Don't pee all over them, EXP all over them. Because, you know, you want to drip. You want to talk to them, tell them one
Analogy
thing,
there.
not drip with the pig.
You want like the ice bucket challenge. You don't want to like dump it over their
You
head.
don't want to do the ice bucket challenge. You want to give them one cube at a time.
That's fair.
Right. Okay, we're getting near the end. Oh, gosh, we are. We're getting near the end. EXP solves attrition, and I didn't know years ago what attrition meant either, but that's people leaving, people coming in, people leaving. But EXP solves attrition because if you come to EXP and you're on, our team, and for whatever reason you decide, you know what, I'd really like to be out on my own. You can go out on your own. You can move to another state, and you'll probably end up staying with EXP, which means even though you're not part of my team, you're still part of my team. So that's something that other companies don't have. A lot of other companies out there, if you don't want to be on the team you're on anymore, you're leaving the company. I mean, you're not going to stay with the company because maybe that's uncomfortable, but this way it's okay. Elevate your brand. When you call, say who you are and say who you're with. Hi, this is Kathy Haines Homes by EXP. It's a mouthful, but I want them to know I'm with EXP. I got my own company, and my name's Kathy Haines. Your videos do not even have to mention EXP, and I know Deborah's after me. Make videos, and I'm going to. I promise. See, I'm promising you. I'm gonna make a video.
This is public.
I'm gonna make a video today, and I'm gonna send it to you and go, ha. Okay, so your videos do not have to mention EXP. Just talk about your lifestyle, the fun you're having, whatever you're doing. There's a lady that was in Minnesota. She goes all over the place to different restaurants, to different events, and people are following her. People are watching her because she's got interesting videos, and it always shows EXP down there at the bottom. But she's not referring to EXP. She's not asking anybody to come to EXP. But there's probably a lot of agents out there thinking, God, my life is boring. And she is having so much fun. I need to go talk to her. I need to have fun too. And we are the fun company. In fact, if we're not having fun, there's a problem. Masterminds. When we have them, invite agents that you know. I mean, we had a great one over in Kernersville a couple of weeks ago. So I think we had like 65 people. But the people that you've been talking to about EXP say, listen, even if you don't join EXP, come to this mastermind. A lot of people would pay a couple $100 to come to listen to some of these people talk. And I'm inviting you for free, and I'm going to feed you lunch. So we're going to be having these more and more, and keep that in mind. Invite your friends. Maybe they still won't join. Maybe they'll be so impressed they want to join that very day. That's all I've got.